Hello and welcome to season 2 of Careers and Coffee, the show where me, Charlotte, and my lovely co-host Lucy Grimwade talk about all things careers over a cup of coffee. Lucy, important question. Do you have your coffee?
Of course, I have my coffee in my new
Cheers.
favourite mug as well.
Oh,
Cheers.
very nice. Your new favourite mug that I think I purchased, was that for
Yes,
you?
you did.
Very nice. So let's dive right in. So this season is going to be extra special because it's not just going to be me and Lucy that you'll be listening to this season. We are going to be joined by some special guests, and each week those guests are going to share with us some skills, some of their experiences, and some of their expertise. And this week's topic is an exciting one, is all about prioritization and staying organized. Now, who better to ask about this topic than not only a award-winning office manager who has got over 15 years of experience in administration and starting her career back in public sector right up to present day, where she works for a very successful fintech business. She describes herself as a hands-on sort of person, enabling her to learn a lot by just getting involved and getting stuck in. And she also loves the fact that her role has no 2 days that are the same. So please join me in welcoming the fabulous Kate Turgoose to Careers and Coffee.
Kate,
Hello.
welcome.
Hi, Kate.
Hello. Kate, do you have your coffee?
I do.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
cheers.
Perfect. So, Kate, let's kind of crack on and
Mm.
tell us a little bit about what you do for a job.
So I am the Workplace Experience Manager for Funding Circle. Basically, I am the office mum. I take care of them all and make sure they have everything that they need and that they're happy, and that the office that we have is suitable for all their needs. It's a big office, a very big office with a lot of people. So and it's a challenging role, I'll give it that. But I really, really like working here, and the people are lovely. And even when it's challenging, you just know that they appreciate everything that you do. So I love it.
Oh, that sounds great. And did you always know that you wanted to kind of go into this space of workplace experience, office manager, administration? Was it a natural calling for you?
It's a weird one, that, because obviously administration is a fairly kind of like all-rounder kind of role. And I kind of started without really knowing what I wanted to do. And it was only when I kind of started off wanting to do like communications and stuff like that, because obviously I can talk a little bit. And I'm quite good at writing. So I was just like, right, I could probably do that. And then I kind of got into doing like reception roles. And whilst reception is fine, and if you're really good at it, you are top notch, I was just like, it wasn't quite enough for me. And then I kind of heard about office management, and I was just like, so how do I get into office management? And I was just like, there aren't any particular kind of there's no degrees in it. There's no real MVQs or anything like that. It is a natural progression kind of a role. So I kind of talked my way into it. And you just kind of show a willingness to get involved in anything that's required. And eventually it's just like, oh, I'm an office manager now. Great. And you just kind of learn as you go. It's one of those jobs. So I guess I was naturally kind of attuned to the role, because the very idea of sitting down and doing the same job every single day, that, oh, my lighting has just decided to work. That's good. Thanks. I clearly moved, and it was just like, okay. See, I should probably learn something about how lighting works, huh? Yeah, that's something. Yeah, so completely sidetracked. Thank you. Yeah, the very idea of sitting down doing the same job every single day, I was just like, nah, that is super not for me. So give me something where I can get involved in everything and I'm happy.
Kate, I've got a couple of questions actually, because now you've said that. If someone's watching now, and it'd be great to kind of hear from you all in the comments as well. If someone's watching now thinking, do you know what, I'm thinking about becoming an office manager, do you have any kind of advice that you'd might think about giving?
Yeah, I mean, if they're already in like an administrative position, is literally show willing. Now, luckily these days there are courses out there, and there's loads of material. In fact, there's loads of networks to get involved in. I wish I'd written them all down.
Or perhaps we can share them in the comments,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
give everyone access to those resources.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will definitely do that as soon as we're done here. So I've got loads to
Fantastic.
share.
Oh,
Right.
that's great. Great idea,
And
Charlotte. And then oh, sorry, Kate.
No. I'm always happy to kind of get involved and mentor kind of like people who want to do the role, because you have to show willingness above all else. It's just like, I can teach anyone as long as they want to do it. So
Yeah, great. Cool. Thank you for that. And thank you for saying about Charlotte. Great kind of call out there about putting the resources in there, something that Charlotte and I like to do anyway. Is there anything that from your career kind of thus far, have you got anything that's like a number one learning for you that's kind of been a moment where you've gone, oh my goodness me, light bulb?
I love doing fit out projects. Everybody else is just like, that sounds like their idea of hell. And I'm just like, no, get me a hard hat and a pair of boots. And I want to get involved. And in fact, Charlotte has actually seen.
I have witnessed this.
Yeah. She has seen the results of me doing a fit out project. It's just, again, it's something I didn't know about at all. It's an amalgamation of like project management and just literally getting dirty as hell, and getting, crawling under desks and pulling out wires that you're not sure if you're supposed to pull out. And it's like it's like going and playing in a massive playground, but unfortunately there's a lot, balancing on it. But to be able to deliver something from nothing is it's such a steep learning curve, and you get to deal with so many different people, from like laborers and builders through to project managers, and it's everything. And you get to choose really cool furniture. So
obviously, Kate, from what you've said, you like the big meaty projects, and you like to have lots of variety in your role. And I guess with variety comes lots of different things flying at you. So thinking about today's topic around staying organised and prioritisation, what is your approach to prioritisation of work, especially when it's coming from multiple places? And also, I know you've worked in global businesses, so there's multiple time zones as well to consider. So what's your approach?
I mean, when you approached me to come onto this and said that the episode was going to be about prioritization and organization, I honestly laughed. I was just like, Charlotte is asking me about prioritization and organization. Are you joking?
No, because I'm like, for everyone's context, audience, Kate and I have worked together previously, and Kate is one of the most organized people I've ever worked with, and that is why I wanted to invite her onto the show.
I just don't see what Charlotte sees, but I'm clearly very good at what I do. So
satisfied stakeholder.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Let's go with that. It's just like, Kate is very able to deliver a project on time in a very organized manner. So, okay, focus. Basically, I think you've got to try and kind of keep a level head when it comes to prioritization, because it can get a little bit overwhelming. And I have been overwhelmed at times. And you just got to really kind of, it's almost like when everything is spinning around you, you've got to sit back, take yourself out of it and think about what's the most important. So you could have like some C-suite person screaming at you for such and such a thing. And then you got to realize it's just like, okay, does this impact the rest of my team? Does this impact a major project that's going to have ramifications to our customers? And it's just like, well, no, it isn't. But if I don't deliver, say, this fit out project by such and such a date, that is going to impact the business because people won't have an office to come into. So, right, okay, I'm going to focus there because that is what's important to me. So everybody kind of thinks that, the higher up people are who are kind of like coming at you with a bunch of different priorities. And you're just like, well, that's not my priority, that's yours. So you need to kind of have a bit of a steel spine to kind of deal with that. But I've kind of noticed the more kind of The more experienced I become, the less kind of overwhelmed that I've gotten. And it's just, I mean, Charlotte knew me right at the beginning, well, nearly right at the beginning of my office management career. And I think she could probably see a difference in how I handle myself now than at the
Yeah,
time when we
definitely.
were working together. So, I mean, I used to be terrified of C-suite people. I was just like, I can't talk to them like that. And I'm just like, okay, so what do you need? I'm just like, yeah. I don't get easily overwhelmed anymore. And like I said, my focus, whilst I don't think is particularly good, I know what's important and what needs to happen.
So, just a follow-on question from that, Kate. One of the books that I read on prioritization. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Her name's Grace Beverley.
Can't say
She wrote this great book called, I think, I hope I get this right, and I will put it correctly in the comments. But I think it's called Working Hard or Hardly Working. And one of the prioritization techniques she talks about is like a quadrant where you've got like urgent and important, important but not urgent. I'm going to get this wrong now. I'll do this off the top of my head. Urgent, important but not urgent. And then basically the other way around: urgent, not urgent, not important. Do you think about these things when are you thinking about urgency and important, and like kind of how you manage and prioritize when you're being asked with like multiple requests coming in?
I mean, I have heard of that method before, probably on a training course somewhere that I've done at some point. And I do tend to think about it, but in a more of a personal sort of a way.
Sure.
I don't necessarily think about it in terms of time and urgency, but it's like I kind of see people's reactions, and I kind of react to people in like a more visceral sort of a way. It's like I can read people and I can read how they feel, and if someone's coming to me and I can tell that they're panicking, I'm just like, right, okay, let's try and calm this person down so that we can look at why they feel that way and why their work is urgent. And then I can kind of balance that out with what else I've got going on, because
Yeah.
I've heard people go, sounds like a you problem, and walk away. And I'm just like,
Oh, that's terrible.
yeah, it's pretty ouchy. And I'm just like, why did you do that? It's just like, yeah, that person is clearly struggling. And if I can help them kind of like rebalance what's going on for them, then I'll do that.
I love the fact that you keep talking about balance. I think that's
Yeah.
so important when it comes to being organised and prioritising your workload. What do you think, Lucy?
Yeah, I really agree. And I really like something you were just saying there as well around understanding that stakeholder and that empathy that you use. And I think that can really help when you're trying to prioritize, and especially the role that you do. I'm sure you get people coming to you left, right, and center,
Mm.
but actually kind of being very people focused. I actually personally never thought about it that way until hearing you talk about it. I thought
Oh,
actually that's a really good way of kind of when you're in a role like yourself and the stuff that Charlotte and I do as well. I am definitely going to take that forwards with me a little bit more around being more person centric than really like the task and what needs to be done.
I mean, we have a value here at Funding Circle called Obsess Over the Customer.
Mm.
So my customer is every single person who uses this office. So I kind of, whilst I could use the urgency and be very kind of more logical as Charlotte is, and it's just like people aren't logical as a whole. They're very emotional people, emotional creatures, shall we call them. So you've got to kind of lead with empathy with a little bit of logic. So it's like again, balancing act between the two.
Yeah.
How many people do you serve, Kate, as with your customers?
Ooh. So because we're working a hybrid model, it can be anything from about 6 people who are in the office right now, including myself, because it's like
Friday
January
before
and
Christmas.
taking a while to kind of like ramp up a bit, all the way through to like 500 odd people. So, there's a lot of bodies wandering around, and it's just like, okay, so you've got to really kind of get a feel for the place and the kind of energy. Sounds a little bit
Mm.
woo, that.
No, I love that. Oh, I'm all about the woo.
Lucy loves woo.
Oh, I love the woo. Kate, we've talked a lot about prioritization, but what I really want to know is about how do you stay organized and how do you keep on top of your workload?
I got to say that I am really old school about this. So there's all these people who go, oh, I've got this app and this app and this app, and I do it like this, and oh, I've got a Gantt chart for this, and like a spreadsheet for that, and I'm just like, I've got a Kanban board. How's about that? That's about as techie as it gets for me, but I love it. It's just like Jira Kanban, I'm all over it. And I'm just like, raise the ticket. But also, I'm one of those people that I find that if I've written something down, it kind of sticks in here way better. It's every time I kind of like type something into my phone, I feel like less of a connection to it. It's like, I know for a fact that on my phone right now, I've got like my notepad app, and I know that there's some stuff in there. Can I tell you what it says? No. However, if I went to my desk right now, there is a great big notepad, and it's one of those that's got like ticky boxes and stuff like that. And I can probably tell you everything that's on that list because I've physically written it down. So yeah. That being said, when I've got all of my tickets on my Kanban board and I know I've done it and I can just go drag it to done, I do that sense of satisfaction is it's the best.
Oh, Kate, literally, I absolutely love a Kanban board. I'm exactly the same as you, and I'm a bit of a list taker as well. Like I'm always kind of writing a list and crossing things off. I think you're right. It's that satisfaction of going done, done, done. And just something that we were just talking about with kind of staying organised and keeping on top of our workloads. Something I've learned about myself actually, and it'd be great to kind of hear your point and view on this too, is that if I find myself procrastinating and not doing something, I really have to start asking myself a question because I think we're very similar in the sense that I just get the stuff done. It's in my Kanban board. I also used to work on a service desk many moons ago, so I'm very used to having like a ticket. If I'm not doing it, I have to kind of really like look myself in the mirror and be like, girlfriend, why are you not doing this? Like, what is it? Do you do that? Like, how do you kind of maybe overcome that procrastination?
I do that because it's just like there are some tasks, I'm not gonna lie, there are some tasks I absolutely hate to do, and I'm just like, why do I have to do this? So I'll just stick that ticket down a little bit lower and let's see, is this urgent? Is this important? No, I don't think so, but I'm sure to that person it is super important and I should probably do it. So I try to put myself into the mind of the person that I'm trying to help, and it's just like, okay, so I could do DSE assessments and stuff like that, and I've done those for donkey's years. And sometimes it gets a little bit monotonous because I know for a fact that they're absolutely fine. They're trying to get some new furniture paid for and all of that. And I was just like, fine. But I really don't like doing like days and days and days and days of Zoom calls because that's what I have to do to be able to kind of get a feel for like their space that they're working from at home. And I think I'm a little bit, I've got Zoom fatigue from, working through a lockdown. And I think quite a lot of people will go, oh no, if I ever have to do another Zoom meeting ever again, it's like, please, no. So I tend to like anything that I can do in a Zoom meeting, I do try to edge out a little bit. I really like working in the moment and in the office and that sort of thing, but not everybody works that way. And the next thing you know, I've got like 8 or 9 like assessments that I have to do. And then all of a sudden, it's like my brain kind of snaps into gear and it's like, right, okay, do you know what? We're going to work from home today. We're going to hammer out all of these. We're going to get everybody sorted. And then as soon as I have, it's almost like everybody realizes that I'm on assessment duty. And it's like, okay, could I? I'm like, I've just got my head into gear to get this done. You're going to have to wait. So it's just like, it's almost like I have to kind of, I don't know, make a deal with my brain. And it's just like, could you please get your head into gear to do this work, please? Because it is important. It might not be very important to you, but it's important to them. So, yeah, arguing with my brain on a daily basis.
It's interesting you talk about like pockets of work that you try to get done into sort of like, okay, so I'm going to focus on these DSE assessments, which for anybody who doesn't know are the desk side health and safety, is that right?
Yeah, close enough.
Basically, I can relate. Being a short person, I usually have to have a foot rest so that I'm sat in the right position is the only thing I can think of from a desk side assessment I've done. But going back to the blocked time piece, do you use your calendar at work to like block out time? Because I know historically for me, I, like you, get invited to loads and loads of meetings, and I could just spend a whole day on Zoom meetings or in-person meetings and not actually get any work done. So I found myself over like the past couple of years, like putting a block of time in my calendar that says not bookable, and then just sort of saying what I'm doing, just so that people don't put something in my diary so that, oh, you know, she must be free because there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Do you do anything similar?
So I try to, but I don't necessarily stick to it. So
Okay.
if you see my calendar this week, I've had like a 3-hour block that I have moved from Monday all the way to today. Again, it's one of those jobs that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But I have to do it by the end of the year, and I'm on holiday all next week, so I have to do it today. But that being said, because I'm in a mostly reactionary role, I can't really do that as much as I'd want to, which is why the tasks that need my focus, I tend to kind of like discuss that with my manager and go, okay, I've got a whole bunch of this that I need to do. Can I work from home on that day? I tend to do that on a Monday or a Friday where it's a little bit quieter and I don't really need to be in the office to be able to do my job. And that seems to work out quite well. But overall, on a day-to-day basis, it's not something I can do because of the nature of my role.
It's interesting that you talk about reactionary. So in terms of prioritization, when you work in a reactionary role, that's a challenge. So do you have any top tips for our audience on how to prioritize particularly when you work in that type of reactionary environment?
Manage people's expectations. That's the key. So a lot of people are kind of like in their own bubble. They're very focused on what they have to do, when. And you've got to go to them and say, right, so I am working on this thing right now, which is important to this person. Now, I am going to be busy for such and such a time, but I will be able to get this done by, say, 3 p.m., close of play, whatever. And as long as you can explain that to them, most of the time, they'll just say, yeah, that's fine. I can handle that. But then I have a tendency to work with very reasonable people. So I've never really...
Aren't you lucky?
I know. I've never really worked with anyone who's like, gone off in a strop or whatever because I haven't been able to sort stuff out for them right this second. And I've actually done PA work as well, so the fact that I've always worked with people who have been like really solid, decent people, I've been very, very lucky. No.
Great, thank you for that top tip.
So Kate, we've gone through quite a lot in a very short space of time. Is there anything else on the topic of prioritisation and organisation that you would like to share with our audience today?
I think my genuine thing is just to be yourself with people and just tell them exactly what's going on with you. Don't try to be kind of like a superhero, because you're not. You're a person and you're delivering a role, and you can only do so much. And I've seen a lot of people go, I can do that. And I've done it myself. And the thing is, it's just like, eventually you'll just end up with this never ending to-do list. And then that overwhelm just hits you and then you're absolutely useless. So as long as you're human about things, you explain yourself clearly, and you're going to be just fine.
Great. And Charlotte, I'm going to come to you before I kind of bring us to a close as well. Is there anything that you'd like to share? Because I know that you're quite a very organised person. So I wanted
I am
to
at
kind
work.
Hard agree.
What would I say? I mean, like, I like a lot of what Kate has said. I think I always talk about being a people first leader, and I think that kind of transpires a bit with what Kate has said, which is you have to take people on a journey, and expectation management is so important, particularly when you have lots of different stakeholders. I've also worked in global businesses, different time zones, different requests, and also, work closely with leadership teams, exec teams, and the requests they come in, and you just, as Kate says, end up with that very long to-do list that never ends. And I think I agree with a lot of what Kate says. And yes, I am probably a bit more logical in my thinking, hence I gravitated to that Grace Beverley book. And it is advice I've given to people when I've been mentoring them, is to, when they really struggle and they're not as experienced as somebody like Kate in managing and, being able to convey to somebody who's more senior than them, I'm sorry, not right now, or I'll do it later. It's not no, but it's, so giving them tools and frameworks like the urgency and the importance is really helpful, because it gets people to think about, okay, is this actually urgent? Yes, but is it important? And is it more important than the other thing? And so I think that really helps as a tool. But also, the other thing I'd say, and Kate kind of also touched on it, which is, use your manager with these things, or your leader, because sometimes you get this big long list and you're like, oh, okay, I think this is the priority. But if you're getting that overwhelm, there's nothing wrong in having a sounding board conversation which says, just so you know, this is my list at the moment, these are my top priorities, but this means that these things aren't going to get done this week. Are you good with that, or do you have some other suggestions? And 9 times out of 10, your gut instinct is correct, but they might know something, or might be in context of something that you're not, and say, actually, could you up that in importance and drop that? And, they're there to help manage those difficult stakeholder conversations. If you're not, as I said, as experienced as somebody like Kate, who can say, yes, no, maybe, later. So
my line manager is absolutely great at that, I have to say. It's just like, sometimes I don't lean on her as much as I should. And, she really does kind of like get how I work. And sometimes she's just like, look, if you've got any like troublesome folk, just come to me and I'll deal with them. So, having a good leader is just worth all the weight in gold.
Absolutely. I think also, to add to that, it's helps there's all these corridor conversations, and granted they happen less and less in the hybrid world that we work in, but they're now more like Slack conversations of, I've asked such and such person to do this and they haven't done it. At least then your manager's also in context to help you with managing that, so you've got that next level of buffer too. So that would be what I would think. What about you, Lucy?
I think that you've got to find what works for you. And again, that's just coming from my own experiencing, but just listening to you two as well. I actually find sometimes in the different teams that I've kind of run or worked in, that when we're working in like a more of a scrum kind of team environment, where you've got that Kanban board and you do a daily stand up and you've got this level of accountability, well, actually, I need to be joining this call again tomorrow morning and explain the different things I've done. Having that element of like, I say pressure, but like healthy pressure on you to kind of get stuff done, I think that can really help people. But I do think you've got to find what works for you. And I'm very much on the side of what Kate's saying around the kind of woo and like kind of getting a gut feel for it too. But I definitely also think if you're more logical in the way you think, and definitely what we'd do, Charlotte, and hopefully you agree as well, would put a link to that book.
Yeah.
And we'll tag Grace as well, because I know exactly what book that you're talking about. And then because I know that she talks a lot about prioritization, etc., etc. I think that's kind of my kind of parting message, I would say, from it all, is just around finding what works for you.
Great.
Anything else before we bring our careers and coffee to a close? Anything else, Kate, from you?
No, I just really, really enjoyed having this conversation with you. It's like I was a little bit nervous to begin with, especially, me going, me prioritize, me organize now. So I think that's given some really
organized than you say.
Yeah. It's like sometimes you've got to have these conversations, and then it's just like, oh, I'm actually quite good at this. Cool.
Yeah. Perfect. You are. And Kate, thank you so much. We have been absolutely thrilled to have you as part of our Careers and Coffee, our special season with our special guests. So thank you so much for joining. And thank you to everyone that's watched today. Please do let us know in the comments like how you found this episode. Kate's details will be in the comments as well, so you can connect with her. And we hope that you've really enjoyed this episode. So if there's a topic that you'd like for us to cover in the future, you can send us an email here. It's coming up on the bottom of the screen here. You can email us at careersandcoffeell, that stands for LinkedIn Lives, at gmail.com, and let us know if there's a topic that you'd like for us to cover, or maybe you'd like to come and be our guest. Please do ping us a note. And if you haven't been able to watch us live, or you want to watch this back, you can find everything that we do on YouTube. So not just this episode, but all the other episodes that we have done and all the other episodes that we're going to do in the future. You can find us on YouTube at Careers and Coffee. Again, it's on the ticker tape below. And the last thing really from me is thank you so much again, Kate, for joining us. And we'll see you next week with another special guest. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care. Bye.